Hi, Heather. It's Eric from Locals Only. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. Hey, I'm going to come by and pick you up if that's okay.
Let's go for a drive.
Awesome. I'll be pulling up in a white Mercedes in just a few minutes.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Hey, welcome to Locals Only. I'm Eric Hale, and if you don't know me, I'm the guy that founded Local Magazine 14 years ago in my garage. It's been my job for all those years to tell you the coolest places to eat in all of Southern California, fun things to do so you have date nights that aren't boring, and we've talked to some really interesting people. Now we have a podcast, and we're lucky enough to call this Mercedes-Benz EQE all-electric sedan, courtesy of Fletcher Jones Motorcars in Newport Beach, our mobile podcast studio. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the conversation. Welcome to Locals Only. Today, we're in North County, San Diego, and we're picking up Heather Lake. You will instantly recognize her as one of the personalities on Fox 5's morning show. She's been on the show for 16 years. She's the weather anchor and lifestyle reporter. And today, she's going to tell us all about her career and how she got to where she is now. She's going to dish on some of her favorite places in San Diego and talk about how she trains for marathons while being a great wife and a great mom. So sit back, buckle up, and enjoy Locals Only. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
How are you?
Sun is shining.
Yeah,
It just came out.
I think you caused it.
On cue. Yeah, I love it.
I think that might be your job as the weather person, right? You're responsible for this.
I'd like to say I'm responsible for sunshine.
If they get to complain for bad weather, shouldn't they have to give props for weather like this?
Hands down. Anytime I can report that it's sunny in San Diego in May or June, I'm like, perfect. My job here is done.
So we're for those of you that don't know, we're with Heather Lake. She's from Fox 5 San Diego, and she's both a lifestyle reporter and a weather reporter or weather anchor maybe, right?
Yeah, weather anchor. I'm
Okay.
actually working on finishing up some continued education for my meteorology certification. So you'll see me more and more doing weather, but I love being out and about in San Diego. It's, something I've been doing for almost 16 years. I'm going to age myself right now, but
So you started when you were 13?
totally.
Yeah.
Totally,
perfect.
yeah.
Okay. Really young to break into the news business.
Yeah.
But that's fantastic. So 16 years doing it. What was today like? Were you out doing some
was
on-site
fun.
stuff today?
Yeah, I was out in Oceanside actually. So Oceanside has a brand new platform. So visit Oceanside created called Love Oceanside.
Yeah.
And basically what they do is it's a big old guide for all the businesses that are sustainable and green in Oceanside. So if you wanted to go to a restaurant or a local business or shop or stay at a local hotel that is practicing sustainable practices, then that's where you would find them. So we kind of hopped around town and showed a lot of businesses today. It was super fun.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people sometimes don't equate Oceanside with being part of San Diego, but it is. It's just the very north end of San Diego County.
Absolutely. And if you haven't been up there, it's changed so much in the last 5 years. So you got to check it out.
Well, so let's get into that a little bit before maybe we talk about what you do. One of the things I like to talk about is kind of who the person is. And, after snooping around on your Instagram a little bit, which is something we do before we come on here, you are super busy. Like, if I can just recap here, not only are you the weather anchor and lifestyle reporter, you're a mother, a wife, an avid runner, and not like jogger, but like marathoner, right? So I guess my question is, how do you do all of those things? How do you fit that into one day? What's your day like?
I get up really early. I hope I'm at least good at some of those things that you just said. I don't know that I'm great at all of them, but I'm surely trying, right? Try is the key word there. I get up at 3 a.m. So
wait, so like 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Is that every day?
3 a.m. And this is actually sleeping in because I was previously helping with another part of our morning show to just sort of, you're always building with TV shows and how they go. And our show actually starts at 4:30. So we're 4:30 to 10. I start at 5 a.m. But so I get up at 3 and I hit the ground running. I always have warm lemon water in the morning, ice roller on the eyes, which I didn't need to do 10 years ago, but here we are. Here we are.
I remember watching the news as a kid, and they always had the end. They would say like the anchor suit provided by, and it'd be some local suit company or something like that.
I feel like those days have gone, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, even in my very first job in North Carolina, when I worked for ABC, I had a wardrobe stipend where they paid you because they didn't want, we were young too. So they were like, all right, you need to be looking professional, show up in the right clothing. And when you have temperature changes where you need nice coats and things like that, it is a little bit more expensive, I would guess, than being in San Diego where it doesn't vary as much. But yeah, it's so funny. I feel like the males can wear the same. I mean, would you notice if a man would wear the same suit for a year? Probably not. Maybe a different tie on a Friday, and people would be like, cool.
Erin, you had a question about TV. What was that question that you were going to ask her?
Oh, yeah. So when I was growing up, I really wanted to be on TV, and I even took acting classes. So
you should still try.
I know. There's still time.
I tell her that.
So how do you get on TV? Like, how do you do that? How did you do that?
Well, I guess you kind of need to know that you want to be what you want to do on TV, right? So I wanted to be a reporter from the time that I was in 5th grade. I was the kid that read the morning announcements, did the Pledge of Allegiance, which I'm like, could I still do that? I don't know. I pledge allegiance to the flag. No. Yeah. And so I kind of knew that I wanted to do that from a really, really young age. So I got into it in high school. I was doing it in college. I was broadcast journalism major and political science. And these are all the things that I wanted to do. And so you make your resume tape when you're in college and you send it out to, 100 different TV stations, and they all are hiring, hopefully, and one of them will want you. And so, it just so happened that I had a connection in the place that I was interning at the time, which is WESH, which is an NBC affiliate in Orlando, Florida. And
WESH?
Yep. And the main anchor there had started her career in the place where I started mine as well. And so it was, a couple phone calls and tapes away, and there I am in this newsroom with my first job at 20 years old.
Wow.
I just,
Wait, you were 20 years old and you were on like the actual news. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And then before that, I had done some work with them too as a correspondent they wanted kind of like a gen, whatever our generation is, millennials, they wanted their take on elections.
Okay.
And so I was doing that from the college campus quite a bit too. So kind of helping them out, but always in front of the camera, which you see nowadays, we don't get a lot of interns that are camera shy.
Right.
Because everybody is talking to their cameras at such a young age, which for me, it's kind of beautiful because that's a really hard thing to teach, is to make people comfortable on camera. And that's what I have to do every day. These people have their local businesses and I'm putting them on camera for the very first time. And I hope I do a good job at it. That's what I kind of pride myself on, making people feel comfortable on camera. But if you've never done it, that's a really tough thing to just do overnight.
So you probably know San Diego, even though you're not from here, you're from Florida originally. But you probably know San Diego as well as anybody, right? Like, you're out every single day meeting, not just seeing the places, but meeting the people, telling the stories. So what are some of your favorite things that you've discovered in your time working for the morning show?
Oh my gosh, so hard to even pin down, because sometimes I do things by Wednesday, I'm like, what did I do Monday? Oh yeah, that was so cool. There are all these, it's just, everything is so fun, just seeing all the local businesses. To say that I know San Diego is, quite a statement, right? Because there's just so many nooks and crannies of this county that are so beautiful. Let's show them a nook and cranny right now.
I'm going to turn the camera
Here
around.
We are in what I'd like to call my hood. This never gets old to me. The Coast Highway from, we'll call it South Carlsbad down to Solana Beach. This is my training ground. This is where I train for marathons, half marathons. I could literally do this route every single Sunday, and this is my heaven. This is what it will look like, So that's, I don't know, for me, the cool thing about San Diego is it keeps changing, because everyone's like, have you done enough stuff? Have you featured this, that, and the other? I've been to every theme park. I've done Comic-Con. I've been to, Padres, you name it. I've been with so many different events and spaces here. But then that restaurant will change, or this place will change, or the museums will change, or a new exhibit will pop up. And it just is never ending in this city. And I absolutely love it for that, because I feel like everything's always reinventing itself. And that's what makes my job really beautiful, is when you live here, it's like, the staples are always there, and there's always that fun spot to go to, but then things are always reinventing themselves to be I don't know, more modern or evolving or changing. It's been really cool.
I really agree with that. I think that San Diego, as beautiful it is kind of a little secret, and that's maybe odd. Like people in LA, or maybe from Orange County, even if they fly here, it's kind of the way people visit Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't know exactly where to go and what to do, and it's so diverse and so different, from the Gas Lamp to Chula Vista to La Jolla to Oceanside to Escondido. Like, there's so many different things here: hiking trails, surfing, Michelin star restaurants.
I know.
Like, I feel like do you think San Diego's underrated?
I don't know. I wouldn't say underrated, but I do think that, like, this actually made, when you said Michelin star restaurants, it made me think of, I was showing off Stone Brewing Company when it was considered a microbrewery.
Yeah.
Right. So if you just, and now it's worldwide, right? And distributing. And there's so many things that have just started here. I think what's happening with San Diego, and this is what I try to do on a weekly basis, is show arts, culture, exercise, restaurants, entertainment. And I have only 5 days a week to do so, but we make sure we get it all in. It's really changing. I think a lot of people that have maybe lived in these big metropolitan areas are going,
right, I
think I can live in San Diego and I can bring the arts and culture here, whether it be the ballet, whether it be, music, right? We're getting so many cool music venues. So I don't want to say underrated, but I think we're in its infancy, kind of, right?
Erin, you had a question. I know you mentioned, we talked about running a little bit, and you mentioned the running. Erin, you had a question about that, I think.
Yeah, so I ran a half marathon and I trained for like 6 months and it kicked my butt, like, when I was done. To be honest, like, and seeing that you've run more than one marathon, and I just, how did you train for that? How was and being a mother and a wife and all your roles of, an anchor, how did you train for that?
Well, for me, so I was a rower in college. I rowed crew, and we couldn't be in both places at once. Once I got into my broadcast journalism degree, we couldn't be in the newsroom and be on the water, and it was the same time.
You had to pick something.
Yeah, so me and one of my girlfriends were like, we're going to train for a half marathon. That'll be a great way to stay in shape, and you're on camera, so you want to stay in shape, you want to like do all these things. And she goes, so the half marathon sold out. And I was like, okay.
So the 5K.
But the full marathon is still open. And I was like, oh, you're in college, right? So you're like, yeah, let's do it. So we trained for it, and I get hooked. It's like this weird thing that I was like, I didn't know that I was a runner and like decent at running. Okay, cool.
Right.
So I got kind of hooked on it. And she was from track and field, and I was from rowing, and I was getting better than her at running, which was hilarious. She's like, wait a minute. And she was such an influence on my life, like such an amazing human. So that kind of started it. And then all of a sudden it was like each year I would just train for another marathon and do that. And I think for a lot of people, they find something that's therapeutic for them, whether it be movement or meditation or whatever. And now for me, it's running. Maybe it's just a 5K after work or whatever, but it's the time that I put in my music in my headphones. It's not my kids' music. It's not anyone else's podcast or anyone's opinions. It's literally like whatever I want to listen to. For the day. It could be anything. It could be Katy Perry. It could be Michael Jackson. It could be Machine Gun Kelly. Maybe it's Green Day. I don't know. It is super random.
I like to run to Beyonce.
Oh, Beyonce is the best.
I know that's weird admission.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. But it is. So training for me is almost therapeutic. I love the training more than the racing.
Really?
I really do. The races, I get this like weird, I never get nervous on TV.
Like an anxiety?
But like, oh my gosh, just getting up for the morning for a race. I'm like, why am I so nervous to run? This is the weirdest thing ever. I'm not nervous standing in front of like millions of people. But for whatever reason, I'm about to run and I like want to puke, So I don't know, but it is something that I like to prove to myself that I always kind of have it. And what a great opportunity if like your body feels good moving, just keep moving it, right?
Totally.
Now, I think most of my understanding of what you do from a behind the scenes comes from two sources: Reese Witherspoon in a couple of shows.
Oh yeah.
Both on HBO and I think in Sweet Home Alabama. And then, because I love Reese Witherspoon movies.
Me too.
I'm just selling myself out here. And also from Veronica Corningstone and Ron Burgundy, which I think are synonymous with San Diego news. So how similar or dissimilar is that? Is it glamorous? Is there a Panda Watch?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know there was a Panda Watch. Like, how similar is it to that type of lifestyle? I know that was portrayed in the 70s in a much different way, but I'm just interested to know what it's like.
Well, you guys, breaking news. Panda Watch is coming back this summer, and I will be there. I am already researching, like, the perfect Veronica Corningstone outfit that I'll be wearing outside of the zoo.
The curls?
Get ready for it. I mean, it will be on TV, on Fox 5, waiting for those pandas to come back to the zoo. And I will say, Anchorman is hilarious. So I worked with a guy named Paul Bloom, and he actually did consulting for Anchorman. He worked at KUSI and at Fox 5 in San Diego, and legendary, right? So there are obviously some funny moments in there, but
was there ever any of the brawls between the news stations?
I have personally never been in a TV news brawl, but I'm sure that we would have said not the face.
I really liked it. I was really cool. I was pulling for PBS in that show. I thought with the pipe, you know, that was really great.
I mean, times have definitely changed, for sure. I don't think anyone is drinking scotch in a newsroom anymore, although it'd make it for a much more fun morning show if they did.
We probably get to sample some from time to time.
Oh, yeah. You know, we always say after you have a cup of water and coffee, all bets are off, you know, depending on who comes on the show that day. But this was really interesting. I did watch Morning Show.
Okay.
And I thought that whoever did the research on the characters and the dynamics between the bosses and the character, I thought they did the most amazing job, because there is really strange dynamics in every newsroom that I've been in between kind of that main anchor position, reporters wanting to kind of climb that ladder and get there, but the hierarchy that happens that can be good, but can be really interesting and kind of touchy at times. And so I thought that was really interesting, and the way that they portrayed the news director role was done really well. So whoever did their homework they did a good job with the morning show. And obviously it gets a little dark, which doesn't happen in San Diego here in our newsroom in my experiences. But really interesting show to watch. I enjoyed it. I liked watching that.
So something I took out of there, and it's kind of like small town reporter. It could have been you in North Carolina, gets called up to the big leagues. Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of a transient position, because you have to like take bigger market to bigger market. Now, you got to go pretty much straight to the big leagues. San Diego's a pretty big market, but it's not LA or New York. And you have a family and kids. Do you ever sit back and we're like, man, I just wish New York would call. I wish the big markets would call for the big jobs. Is that still on your bucket list or on the horizon?
I think so. San Diego's 29. We're market 29, which
is big.
It's very big.
Top 10% probably.
We're still, I don't know. It to me still feels a little small town, but there's a beauty to that, and especially what I do. I really love that. I mean, I still have a little girl dream of being in New York. I would just cry if someone called me, you know, and that ticket came up. I would be like, yes, 100 times yes.
Yes, I'll figure it out. I'll get there.
100 times, yes. What an adventure for the whole family and everything. Just because I think it's that's a really cool opportunity, and those are so few and far between. So, I mean, that's always the dream, right? And to be there. And I actually worked in LA a couple of times with our sister station KTLA up there, and it was really awesome.
Yeah.
I loved being on air there. My dear friend Sam Rubin, that we just lost him.
I know, that was so sad. I think we were all big Sam Rubin fans.
Amazing. No one will ever exist like Sam. And we had many tributes for him in the past week that have been really tough to swallow and process and compartmentalize while you're on TV and crying your eyes out, trying to make it all come together. And he's just, I feel like his talents just live on, which is what's so special. He's someone that I learned so much from and was so amazing. So being up in LA, you get that taste of what the big city feels like and how amazing it is. And then you put on your GPS that you have to drive 11 miles and it takes you 90 minutes.
Yes.
And you go, so about that.
Yeah,
you know, there is
that is definitely much tougher. I think something that a lot of people listening to this, you have 16 years in this business. So it might be somebody looking to get in TV, like Aaron asked. It might be a high schooler. It might even be an elementary school, boy or girl. But I think you're definitely somebody that is worth striving to be like. So
That's really kind to say.
Yeah, I mean, you're a go-getter, you're A-type, you have a family, you have a great job, you're successful, you're healthy. Like that's
I
what
take you home with me, both of you. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, please, tell me more.
affirmations. But I think a lot of people see you that way. So what kind of advice would you like to pass on to that next person that might listen to this, even your kids, about that path and what it's like and how to stay on that path and how to keep moving forward?
I think, well, I will say this, self-deprecation is the key to live television,
Okay.
right? So it just, for me, I always know that there's someone out there who's going to do what I do, better or more beautiful or whatever it may be. And that's okay, because I kind of just focus, a lot of the time it's putting blinders on, and doing what you love. Do you enjoy what you're doing today? Do you appreciate what you're doing today? Do you know that you're helping someone with what you're doing today? And I get to do all of that.
And you love it.
And I really, truly love what I do on a day-to-day basis. I don't think I could keep setting my alarm for 3 a.m. if I didn't.
I think that actually goes without saying. There's no way anybody's getting up at 3 a.m. I mean, I was in the Army and I think we had to get up at 5. And they made me do that for 4 years, and I couldn't get up at 5 for a long time after that.
No, thank you for your service. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I did get up early for a long time, and I did do a lot of running. I don't think near as much as you. And I think I have a lot of negative associations with memory.
No.
Because my dad used to make me do fun runs, and to train for them, he'd sit on the front porch and count how many times I ran around the block when I was 7. So I ran miles when I was 7, 8, 9, and then in the Army, they literally yell at you to keep you running, and if you don't run, you could get in a lot of trouble.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, a lot of negative memories. So I do a lot of treadmill walking at this point. Not a big runner, but
you got the coast back there. Anytime the ocean's calling your name, little beach run might get you back to it.
Yeah. So I think because we're kind of getting here close, I think maybe the last thing I would love to talk about is San Diego, right? Not about what your job is here, but what are some of your favorite places to go? You live in North County, in this area. Where do you like to go and explore? Maybe some of the businesses you like to go to, places you like to go. What are some of your favorites? Do you have some?
Yeah, I'm a coffee shop connoisseur.
Okay.
So on the left, we're gonna pass Ironsmith Roasters, which I'm pretty sure is hands down the best flat white you can get in San Diego.
Okay.
Just gonna put it out there.
We might be stopping in after this.
Absolutely. So good. And the guy who owns it, he's also a veteran. So Matt is amazing, and he's awesome. And then my girlfriend owns the Pilates studio, Pilates Republic, that's behind here on the right.
Okay.
So you have to cruise on in here. It's right behind there. And she has a couple locations now, but I actually, we had so many conversations about her starting her first business. Mom, she's having a baby, she's starting a new business and all of that. So I love her Pilates studio is another place that I go to. Death Pie Tequila. That lives up to its name. I had a birthday party there once, just saying. So, I mean, we're on like my main drag here. It's just.
I've definitely spent some time intoxicated on this street right here.
Yeah.
We're at corner of D Street and the 101 here in Encinitas. We can see the big, beautiful Encinitas sign.
And the marine layer starting to transport itself back to the ocean, please, so we can see some sun.
I do think it's interesting, though, how some things in your life have been successful by intention and some by unintention. And by that, I mean, you intentionally went into this business. You set from 5th grade, you had something on your billboard, I'm going to do this. Marathon, you kind of tripped into that, and it became a thing and a lifelong obsession. And then you made a decision and intentionally to go back and pursue weather. So it kind of teaches a lot that good things can happen with intention or without, but it probably helps to have some intention moving down the right path, right?
Right, and it's more like that you're not going to find perfection. It's all about progress. And it's like during that time of progress, you'll find.
Sorry.
No hands.
Speed bump. Speed bump.
I think we got another one coming up. Hold on.
That was unintentional, by the way.
But it is a lot about practice, right? And progress. And there's something about being on live television that will teach you perfection is not even possible, right? I was the kid growing up that my room was always perfect. It was spotless. And I couldn't mess up on anything at school, is all A's. And then I went into live television and I was like, like, that's out the door, forget about it, you know? So it does teach you a lot. And intentions are all well and good, but then you have to know that it's more about just putting together something at the end of the day, kind of sewing it all together, and you'll learn a lot on that journey. So,
well, I think you sewed this together perfectly.
Yes.
And we learned a lot on this journey. I just want to express my gratitude to Heather Lake here for being such a gracious guest.
thanks.
To my beautiful wife, Erin, in the back seat for throwing in some great questions. I want to thank everyone on the Straw Hut Media team, including executive producer Ryan Tillotson and our editor and producer, Parker J. Hicks. And as always, a big thank you to Fletcher Jones Motor Cars in Newport Beach for providing this beautiful Mercedes-Benz EQE to be our rolling podcast studio. Join us next time on Locales Only, where you can buckle up and go for a ride in our mobile podcast studio with some of the coolest people in Southern California.